This game was already over after a few minutes, and I kind of don't like saying that, but I wanted to reiterate this entire philosophy that Jannik Hansen actually talked about on Canucks Sports Radio here on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver. He pretty much said that when a hockey game gets to the 3-4-0 mark early on, when you end off a period and it's 5-0, that game is already over, regardless where that period ended off and however much time you have left to play. Oh, but Lego, you can go out there and come back from a 4-goal deficit. It's happened before. It was 3-1. It was 4-1. Those are memes that exist for a reason. It's possible, right? But the thing is, when you have games that are like this, Toronto-Tampa, Game 4. Tampa trying to keep their non-consecutive losing streak alive, or what is it? That's the wrong way to phrase it. They haven't lost 2 consecutive games in like 50-something games in the postseason, and they're trying to keep that streak alive here. They keep it alive, spoiler alert, but when you have a game that is like this, it's 3-4-0 early, it's 5-0 at the end of the second, there's nothing really left to learn from whatever happens next. You know Tampa is going to take their foot off the gas pedal. You know Toronto is not really going to go out there and play hardball. They're not playing like it's a Game 7 overtime. They're just playing to kill the time off. Sure, you might get some goals to go in. You might score a few, like William Nylander did. But ultimately, this game was over a long time ago. And I just kind of waited until the end of the game to make the post-game video because, you know, we have to see what happens. There were some fights, there were some rough stuff going on, which I'm totally not going to say I was surprised to see. But ultimately, 7-2 is the final score here. And this is a game where Jack Campbell goes out there and has a really bad night. I hate saying this because I love Soup. I've been, following the guy as an LA King for this entire time, and seeing him break out into Toronto as the #1 star that he was earlier on in the year, it was fantastic. It was a great story, but man, these were some rough goals. I know he wasn't getting the best support from his team, but my gosh, how can you go out there and say that a guy who let in 5 goals on 16 shots was not the problem here? He had a .688 a .688 save percentage. Goals against average, I mean, okay, if you want to do the math, you can multiply things out. He probably had, a 10-something goals against because he had 26 minutes of time on ice. It's kind of weird when you average the time on ice with the actual goals against in a game, but either way, the Toronto Maple Leafs went down early. Campbell didn't make any saves. You had the positioning, which was all over the place. You had Tampa storming out of the gate, just trying to cement to themselves that, we're not going to lose 2 straight games in the playoffs. Sorry, Toronto, it's not happening. We're going to score a minute in. We're going to score a few minutes later. We're going to score even quicker after that. You have goals coming all over the place here from, Steven Stamkos, the one-timer to kick things off, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, the unassisted goal, and then Patty Maroon going out there with the very nice rush, all in the first 8 minutes of the game. And you didn't really see the Maple Leafs give their goaltender too much support in the entire recovery process, as Ross Colton and Corey Perry get the goals in the second period. Obviously, the Leafs being in the box as much as they were did not help in the slightest. The Lightning were 1 for 8 on the power play. Yeah, they had 8 power plays, so good on them. But, if you're trying to go out there and say that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be a team that wins in 7 or wins in 6 or whatever, you kind of had to get this game out of the way, right? This type of game, the blowout game, because you were going to see one of these eventually. You had a 5-0 blowout at the start of the series, taking the lead. It was only a matter of time before the Leafs felt the true wrath of the Tampa Bay Lightning at home on a team that's fired up and not wanting to lose, and a team that was just able to come out with the explosive start that they had. Now all of a sudden it's a best 2 out of 3. Going back to Toronto, they have home ice advantage here. And the Maple Leafs, look, you could talk about Jack Campbell and being worried for the guy because a performance like this one certainly wasn't one that you like to see, but he still got to remember he was good in Game 3. He was not bad, for sure. He had a lot of fantastic saves that saved the game, pretty much, for Toronto in that third game. Eric Shalgren came in here, he had a shutout, so there you go, 10 saves on 10 shots. Sure, there were 2 empty net goals, but who really cares? You had Nylander getting some on the board late. Muzzin also with a perfect shot that went by everybody into the top far side corner, but at the end of the day, the Toronto Maple Leafs just needed to get this kind of game out of their system, I feel. And for the Tampa Bay Lightning, this game was a statement. It was a statement that says, yeah, we're really not going to go down without a fight. And we've got all of our big names coming out here and getting involved on this absolute massacre of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Stamkos, of course, had himself a goal. Kucherov 2 assists. You had Victor Hedman with an assist. Braden Point had an assist. Palat had a goal. Corey Perry, Patty Maroon had goals too. Meanwhile, on the Toronto side, while you have John Tavares getting himself an assist, the talk of the town seems to be this guy not being the $11 million player that he's been signed to being. Even though he wins faceoffs, even though he can do some things nicely on the boards and he can fetch the puck very well, you don't see or notice John Tavares in the ways that you should. You don't have the same oohs and ahs moments that you had when John Tavares first suited up with Toronto, or even when he was a part of the Islanders. He had a game-breaking part to his game that, even though his skating was never really the best, you could still just see through what it was that he did in the offensive zone, the passing, the playmaking, the shooting, the decision-making, that he was a franchise-caliber guy. It's just, for some reason, in these, 3-4 games against the Tampa Bay Lightning, we haven't really been seeing that. And it shows. It really does. So I think going into the next few games here, it's probably going to be Johnny T's time to step up. Nylander, I get it. You could say he scored 2 goals here. It's good to see him get on the board, but you need goals when you need goals, and the Toronto Maple Leafs were not really going to have a chance to win a game. They were down 5-0 at the start of the third, so whatever goal support they got towards the end, I really don't consider that good enough. I get it. For Toronto fans, it's frustrating to see because you know the team is so much better. You know the team can compete with the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's just, this is why I had the Lightning go into the finals, because they have an extra gear that you just don't see in the regular season. They have an extra gear that comes out only in the opportune times that they absolutely need it. It's like Jake bailing out Mark and Steven, you know? When it really gets tough and their backs are to the wall, when they need a win, they come out and they get a win, and they get it in the most convincing, brutal, and unforgiving way possible. 3-0 in the first 7 minutes of Game 4. 5-0 at the end of the second period. The Toronto Maple Leafs had no business winning this game, and it showed. So, going back over to Toronto, we're going to see what happens now. Let me know in the comments all your thoughts about this video. Obviously, I'm just kind of rambling here. I had Tampa go into the finals, and I kind of want to see them go to the finals because it means that my bracket will be right. I don't really care if the Toronto Maple Leafs win or lose or whatever. I do like the Leafs because I like Steve Dangle, and I want to see the team do well for his sake, but you know, if my bracket's right, my bracket's right. I said I said Tampa in, 6 games? Let's go to my bracketchallenge.nhl.com or whatever the heck the website is. Yeah, okay, so Tampa in 6. I said that it's 2-2 now. Tampa has a whole bunch of momentum going over to Toronto, so we'll see where things lie there. Talk to me in the comments all your thoughts about this game, the Tampa Bay Lightning, just how good they can be. And what happens when you catch a Toronto team that was up 2-1 off guard? How do we see Sheldon Keefe bounce back? How do we see the players coming in? Talk to me about Spezza. Talk to me about Simmons. Talk to me about Justin Hall and the turnovers. There's a lot to talk about with this series, and I know it's probably the most popular one on the entire hockey world because Toronto is the center of the hockey universe and Tampa Bay is the reigning 2-time Stanley Cup champion, so yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Game 4. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.